Welcome back to today's video, day 5, social self-care. So we are on this 30-day journey and today is day 5 and we are all going to talk about socializing. So I want to put it out there that there's different types of socializing based off your needs with socializing. So social self-care really focuses on figuring out how you get energy and then nurturing that energy based off of your social needs. So if you're an extrovert, you might get your energy needs by being in groups of people, socializing, connecting with other people in large groups or multiple groups or many different friends. And you might have more introverted energy, which means you get energy based off of more one-on-one connections or small groups. You can also be an extrovert with introverted tendencies and vice versa. Just because you're an introvert doesn't mean you don't like hanging out with your friends in groups. It just means where you kind of get your energy. And there's plenty of videos out there on how to figure out if you're an introvert or an extrovert and kind of what those needs are. So our social self-care is really designed to help give us more energy and help us kind of navigate the social needs of the environment. And so there's so many different ways that we can nurture our social self-care. So we might have parents or primary caregivers if they're still alive. We can nurture our relationships with them. We might be in a romantic relationship. We might have a partner, a spouse, a boyfriend, girlfriend. So we can nurture relationships with them. You might have children, and so your children relationships, you might have grandchildren. So really, there's so many different areas of social self-care that we can nurture, right? We haven't even talked about our friendships or our coworkers, or our personal relationships or our professional relationships, such as networking. And so social self-care really just focuses on all of those individual groups and finding ways to connect with them. So as you are watching this video, depending on when you're watching this video, you might be in the midst of a lockdown or a shutdown. And so your social self-care, or even thinking back in 2020, a lot of the social self-care needs weren't being met. And so people were really adapting. So they might have done like virtual happy hours or virtual hangouts. And I know Netflix has a feature where you can watch a show with somebody else at the same time, and you guys can kind of pause on one screen and then the other screen pauses for the other person, so you can kind of feel connected even when we're not connected in the same physical space. So social self-care can be looked at sending someone a text, a phone call, a video chat. It can be physically hanging out with someone, virtually hanging out with someone. It can also double dip into a lot of the other areas. And so that's why we're talking about social self-care before I talk about the other areas of self-care. So for example, yesterday we talked about physical self-care, and maybe exercise is something you're really working on. Maybe you ask a friend to go on a walk. So now you're nurturing your physical self-care and your social self-care at the same time. So you're kind of navigating two things at the same time. And that's why I kind of reference for self-care that we acknowledge what we're already doing, so how we can modify and tweak it. And a lot of times we just need to put our awareness that this is self-care. We just need to re-identify that this is self-care, that we are engaging in self-care, because so often we think, well, that's just my day-to-day routine. That's just kind of what I do. It's not self-care, it's just what needs to happen. And if we can take that step back and acknowledge that that is a form of self-care, what that's going to do, it's going to naturally lower the amount of stress that we experience in our life, because now we're not saying it's just another task on the list. We're saying, hey, these are things that I need to do in order to feel well, right? We're on this wellness journey, identifying things that are going to allow you to keep feeling well. Also, social self-care is setting those boundaries with people who take energy from you. And obviously, sometimes there's people in our life that we can't get rid of. Sometimes we have some family relationships or even professional relationships that we can't get out of our life. And so social self-care is really important, because if you know that there's certain people that are going to drain energy from you, you get to do something beforehand, before you see these people or interact with these people, that are going to give you extra energy, knowing that these encounters, these relationships kind of take your energy or even drain your energy as a whole. So today's reflective question is, what does your current social self-care routine look like? What are your social self-care needs? Are your needs being met? Have your needs had to change due to the 2020 experience? What have you noticed that your social, maybe you recognize that you are more introverted than you realized, or maybe you've noticed that hanging out with people doesn't give you energy like you thought it did, and having more alone time or one-on-one time gives you more energy. So it's all about kind of exploring and navigating your needs for social self-care. So the inspired action today is to do one thing for your social self-care. So that could look like reaching out to a friend. That could look like texting someone, giving them a phone call, going on a walk with someone, eating a meal with someone. So doing something in a social setting with somebody else, that's going to help nurture your self-care. Awesome, that concludes today's video. I will catch you in tomorrow's video. Again, if you haven't downloaded the calendar, get the calendar here so you can be on top of every topic that we have for every single day. Also, don't forget to tag me in today's video as you're watching, and I'd love to see where you're watching from. Again, my name's Alyssa Cotten. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe so you can get the notification for all these videos. Take care, have a great day.